let's talk about a new Notre Dame commitment.
So Notre Dame landing a commitment from Nolan James, a former Boston College commit. He's listed at 5'11", 185 pounds. We need to get that one updated as well, Darren. He checked in at 5'10", 206 pounds at Notre Dame, from what I am told. So he took his official visits this past weekend. I want to read something that Mike Goolsby, former Notre Dame captain and linebacker, and my co-host for my Sunday night show, the Mike Goolsby show, he tweeted out last night, Nolan James is a fantastic flip for Notre Dame. Couldn't care less what he's ranked. Love his film. And the comparison that he is getting, talking about Nolan James, is he gives off some Kyren Williams vibes, Darren, which is that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. So just a quick backstory on his recruitment. He commits to Boston College December of 2023. Had other schools contact him and work on him throughout, the calendar year of 2024. He shut it down. He was not really looking around at all. So you look at the offer list, you're like, oh man, I want more offers for this kid if he's going to come to Notre Dame. I think there's been a lot of big time programs that he just kind of turned down. But he told me after the news broke on November 1st that he was being targeted by Notre Dame, he told me that Notre Dame was the only school that I was going to consider. So I think just right there, that tells you a lot about the kid, like how much he already valued and understood Notre Dame before even stepping foot on campus. So gets to South Bend for the Florida State weekend. And then, he committed while he was on campus privately and then announced it on Monday night publicly with On Threes, Hayes Fawcett. So really nice get on the field, Darren. Plays in hyper competitive ball in that private league in the state of New Jersey. Big time. And again, did I say highly productive and highly competitive? The stats are nuts. In 9 games this season, 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns on 181 carries at 7.8 yards per carry and 22 receptions for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns. Career stats are off the chart as well. I'm going to need to pull that up real quick. His career stats, he has over 500 carries, 520 carries, 3,616 yards, and 33 rushing touchdowns. Also has 1,000 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. So super productive. On Three's Charles Power described him as more quick than he is fast. So what he might lack in the 40-yard dash or your 100-meter makes up for and just kind of do it all everywhere else. Who does that sound like, Darren? The guy that my Miami Dolphins just beat on Monday night. That's Kyren. Kyren didn't run that well, prior to the draft, if I recall correctly, right? And I know Estime didn't either. So, but what are those guys doing? I was watching the Broncos and the Chiefs. Estime, he's playing a lot of football. Kyren Williams, is a very popular bet for that anytime TD. Kyren Williams just scores touchdowns, and that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. And Nolan James, someone who, he's really do it all. Like, I comp Aeneas Williams a lot to Kyren Williams for these same reasons. I just see similarities with all these guys. Now, Deland didn't recruit Kyren Williams to Notre Dame, but they did have a year together, right? Kyren's last year, I think Deland was there. But maybe it was 2. I can't remember. You guys will correct me if you're watching or listening to this. But it just seems like Deland has a type, and it is these kind of do-it-all backs. Pass protection, can line up in the slot, can catch balls out of the backfield, obviously run between the tackles, tough, smart. So, yeah, you might not have 4.4 speed, but you can do so many other things. Give me the guy who is going to be able to bust more 20-yard runs more frequently, than a guy who, I might be able to pop an 80-yarder, but, he's not busting too many 20-yard runs. That might be a bad take, but I really like this kind of player, like a Nolan James, who could just do so much more than just break a long one. And he's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not like the strongest point of his game. So Nolan James, flipping him from Boston College, ranks as a 3-star across the board. I feel like I'd bet a significant amount of money that he'll get. Okay, maybe not a significant amount. I'd bet a penny. How about that? That James will get bumped by a 4-star by at least one of these recruiting websites. I would imagine a couple of them will kind of fall in love seeing his senior tape, learning about him, looking at his career stats, playing again such good ball in New Jersey. Nolan James, I think, is the real deal. It's good to get for the Irish.
Mike, we're in the final chapter of this 25 recruiting cycle. How do things finish up for the Irish?
So going into Florida State weekend, 7 key big targets for Notre Dame. They landed one of them in James, we just talked about, and there's 6 left, unless maybe they have something else cooking behind the scenes. But there's 6. There is 2 wide receivers still on the board. You got Derek Meadows and Antoine Parham. Now, I think Notre Dame's got a really good chance to land both. Would they go to 5? I don't know exactly what the logistics of that would look like, but Parham, a Tulane commit, 6'4", 200 pounds. That looks good for the Irish. And then, of course, Derek Meadows. I think Notre Dame's got a really good chance to land him. Then you got the 2 linebackers, Madden Faremo and Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng. I think the Irish got a better chance to land Faremo than Owusu-Boateng. Boateng looking like he's likely at Michigan to end up there at least. Jalen Wiggins, toss up between Florida and Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's still got a really good shot to flip him from the Gators. And then Andrew Olesh, a Michigan tight end pledge. He was on campus for his official visit. Top 100 overall player, number 3 tight end in the country, according to the On3 industry ranking. He is from the state of Pennsylvania. It's going to end up being Michigan or Notre Dame for Olesh. Oregon and Penn State are still out there. I think it's going to be Notre Dame or Michigan. And this one still needs some development. Maybe talk to me again next week and see how this one continues to trend. Notre Dame's got a shot here. But from what I was told on Monday, Michigan probably has a slight edge. So that's the 6 guys left on the board. Derek Meadows, Madden Faremo, Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, Jalen Wiggins, Antoine Parham, and Andrew Olesh. 2 receivers, 2 linebackers, interior defense lineman, and a tight end. Notre Dame, after landing Nolan James commitments, is up to 24 commits in the class. My guess right now is they'll end around 27, 28 or so. It'll be a pretty big class for the Irish.
Okay. Speaking of Michigan, I see Ivan Taylor's flipping from Michigan to Alabama.
Oh, man.
The cycle never ends.
Darren, what's interesting is I always said, like Ivan Taylor, it's just going to be a matter of time before Notre Dame gets back into flipping the former Notre Dame defensive back commit. Partly because that's what I was told. And the other, going from Notre Dame to Michigan for him never really made sense to me. For a Florida kid, I just didn't get it. So him ended up flipping to Bama is not a surprise. And it seems pretty likely to happen.
Okay, that's just a sample of some of the recruiting news. Of course, you can get more at Blue and Gold Illustrated, blueandgold.com. And Mike, for people who have not subscribed, how can they do it right now?
Super easy. And I'm telling you, I feel like this is the best deal that you're going to get. If you're someone who's like, man, I just want to try it for a week or something, great. But also, if you like a good deal, how about this? $1 for 7 days. This is a premium access of Blue and Gold. So you get on our message board that's moderated, so you don't just have, wackadoos on there all the time, and you can't do anything about it. We moderate it without going too far in moderation, right? We let the message board breathe. We call it like an internet sports bar. We'll toss you if we need to, but we keep it fun. All the insider access, coverage on the team, weekly Q&A sessions with our staff. It's incredible. No one's covering Notre Dame recruiting like we are. So $1 for 7 days. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul. Cancel for 7 days. If not, you'll get 50% off your first year. So you get that trial, and then you get 50% off your first year, which I think it comes out to $60 in a year. You start doing the math on how much that costs a day. It's an incredible deal, especially considering how much time you're going to spend on the site. It's going to be awesome. So please check it out, blueandgold.com.